Good evening. Happy Thursday, August the 1st, 2024. Welcome to the Couchcasters podcast. I'm your host, Jeff, co-host Scott, co-host Parker. Hunter will be along shortly. Boys, roll tide. How's it going?
Roll tide. I am feeling very well, very well. Fall practice is here, boys. It is here. The pads are hitting each other. The cleats are on. And it is laced up and ready to. It's my favorite time of the year, guys. It's like Christmas if you're a college football fan, and you don't even have to be a Bama fan. I mean, Ohio State, Georgia, even with their issues going on right now, I won't go into it. But hey, there's all fan bases. This is a happy time. All right, this before we get into the grit of the season, where everybody's dreams and hopes start to falter away when the season actually starts. So, but yeah, this is a happy time. Very excited. Very excited.
Yes, absolutely agree. Absolutely agree. Pads and cleats, man. That's when it's like real. It's no more, talk about verbal commitments and what high school junior is going to do in 2 years. Dominating the whole offseason along with the Debo stuff. But now we got pads and cleats, man. There's boys out there hitting. There's Kane Womack out there cussing somebody out on day one. That was the highlight of practice.
In a sweatsuit.
In a hooded sweatsuit. It's 105 degrees.
I give it to him. I'm like, that's a bold move there, buddy. Let's see how it plays out for him if he can stay through the whole fall practice and see it play out.
I don't expect him to go the entire fall. No. Like Alabama's undefeated. Alabama weather is undefeated when it comes to that kind of stuff.
That it is.
But man, it was that. I mean, all this stuff in the offseason, the media day, the press conferences with Debo and all that. It's each step of it. You come more and more to the realization that Saban is gone and that we have a new coach, and then you actually see with your eyeballs the coach out there with the stick, whacking at the hands while they're doing running back drills and whatnot. And it's like, okay, like there's no straw hat walking around out there. There's a different hat walking around out there. And, it really got real when I saw that, yesterday.
Yep. I think it became real for me when, SEC media days, in this past couple, I think it was maybe a week and a half ago. Saban just being on the with all the commentators and everything, and that was just a surreal moment. Now I'll say this: he's got, everybody knows he's got some character to him. I mean, he's able to open up a little bit more now. I guess he's not nearly as stressed. I can see he's actually enjoying what he's doing. So who knows?
You could tell he wasn't used to that heat, boy. His face was red as hell.
Woo!
Like, Coach, you're going to need some more Gatorade there, brother.
But yeah, to your point, big changes. I guess we'll just figure out in about, today's August 1st, so 4 weeks from Saturday. We will see it. And it's going to be officially official. I will be in attendance for that game. Pretty excited.
Yeah, that's cool. You get to be at the opening game. Let's see. I went to the Franchione opener against UCLA in 2001.
I was actually just talking about Cameron with this they were talking about somebody that he knew was at Saban's first game against like Eastern Carolina or somebody like that.
It was Western Carolina.
Western Carolina. That's who
Terry
it was.
Grant game. Terry Grant went off that day. Went for like a
beat him like 40-6.
It was 48-6, I think.
But that's insane. You think of it, and you're like, now looking back, 6 national titles that he won, and all those wins, and you're like, wow, it went by really quick.
Well, if we're going to step back in time a little bit. Everybody, only thing that people like to remember about the first year is the 7-6, and we lost at home to La Mo. But if y'all remember, I don't know, y'all were like 5. But if y'all remember, we were like 6-2 that year, and I think we'd beaten Tennessee, right? and then we lost some linemen, and a couple guys got suspended for selling their textbooks back or something.
Yep.
And then we lost like 4 in a row, close out the season, and then won the bowl game to finish 7-6. But we were 6-2, and like really had something going there. And then I think that silly
Saban year
thing got in the way. Huh?
The Saban's first year?
Yeah, 07.
I started thinking about 05, how promising that season was until Prothro went down. I was like, yep, there goes the season. So
yeah, but that was the last coach debut I went to was Franchione in 01, and we lost to UCLA 2017.
I mean, just that background that Jeff's got right there, that background he's got, that speaks volumes right there. I mean, this is a whole new era. And, there's going to be the curmudgeons out there who are not happy with some of the things. There's going to be some growing pains. There is. And people are not going to be happy with some of the results they see in this first year. All I can tell them is you just saddle up, buckle up. I mean, this is where we're at. Join the ride or get off. So that's all I got to say about that.
See, I don't know though. I feel like this year it could be really, really good. Make some noise. Like,
oh yeah.
I don't think this year is going to be DeBoer's hardest year. He's actually inheriting a ton of talent. He's inheriting a ton of players that were in under Nick Saban's system. I don't think this year's his biggest test. I think in 2 or 3 years, when these guys start to go, is when
totally agree.
Be able to start to judge them.
Completely agree.
Obviously, there's huge differences between how him and Saban will run a program, but I think these next 2 years at least are going to be really exciting and great, and the transition's going to be awesome. But I'm wary of the future more so than the present.
And that's the thing too, and that's more so what I'm kind of relating to is it's not certain, it's not the team as a whole. This team is very good. They've got a lot of talent, probably one of the top 3 returning talents in the country. The problem is some of the areas too, and funny, somebody I was talking with today, they're talking about how young he said secondary, but he was more so referring to the cornerbacks. At the cornerback position where, I look back at it, I was like, okay, we lost Terrion Arnold and Kool-Aid McKinstry. That's a lot of experience in the 2 corner positions on both sides. I think we'll be okay. I think Jackson from USC, is it Dominic? Is that right? Dominic Jackson? Damani Jackson. I think he will get that start on one side, and the other one, I think we briefly touched on it last week. It could be Devontae Smith. It could be
Deshaun Jones. Booking it right now.
Deshaun Jones.
The first few games, yeah. I mean, he's a 2-year starter or 3-year starter at Wake Forest. Good player. Now, is he Alabama shutdown starting corner good? We'll find out, but I think
we won't know.
Be and stay in the rotation and certainly start the first few games.
It's funny that Jeff had mentioned last week too about Mbakwe. Womack actually mentioned him. Say that again. I'm sorry.
That kid's gonna be a baller.
Womack was just talking about him today and saying he's probably the one who's shown and improved the most since getting here in the spring, and it has the most influence. And then you have to take it with a grain of salt, of course. I'm excited, and I want to see what he can do too. We talked about that, but we're not talking about the defensive backs and safeties today. We're in a whole.
No, we are not. Good transition there, Parker.
So we did last week, right? We did.
Yes, we did. Secondary last
week. DBs last week.
Okay.
Part 2 now. Moving on to defensive linemen and linebackers. Linebackers a big list, so. We're going to start with our defensive line here.
Oof. Woo.
That's not a new number. There's some new numbers too.
Loaded group.
Use some of these new numbers.
I mean, you got a grad. You're looking at number 50 right there, Tim Smith. I love seeing that
group. This is a deep group. It's playing the 4. These are these are the guys going to be in the 4 spot in the 4-2-5. This is a group's going to be in the 4s of the 4-2-5. Am I right, or are there going to be some linebackers playing on those edges? I'm not sure.
There will be some
as far as
linebackers.
I think Keely's been repping in the bandit position,
Correct.
which is an edge rusher.
Okay.
Same with Campbell too. Jaheed has also been playing a little bit down in the box, and also in that on that edge position. Obviously, it depends on the formation that they're running and how they're lined up. But I do know we're talking about the D line here. LT, I know I was speaking on him last week. I know he's missed the first couple practices this week. He's dealing with an illness, so he has not been there. Hoping for a quick recovery over that, because I really do need to see him, make an impact when he comes and plays.
Something going around. So he may have caught some of the bug. I was sick a few days ago, so Monday I think it was. I was down pretty hard, so it may be something going around. But look at this. We got a junior, a redshirt senior, a junior, a redshirt junior, a graduate student, Keenan, a redshirt junior. I mean, that's a lot of depth.
Plenty of experience.
And experience. Not even counting some redshirt freshmen. So I think Renaud's going to maybe get some run. Osborne, I don't know where he falls in, but some of these redshirt freshmen might get in the rotation.
And I think every single guy on this list could play this year,
including Jeremiah Beeman as a freshman.
Yeah, they're loaded, and they're going to be an anchor. I mean, it's probably the most experienced group on the team. When you consider Otis has been maybe not a 2-year starter, but a 2-year contributor. Latham got good time last year. Tim Smith has been on the field since he got here.
Mm-hmm.
Tim Keenan was a starter last year. LT Overton played in pretty much every game at A&M. Damon Payne contributed. James Smith played last year. Every single one of these guys that's been here has played meaningful snaps. And, some of the freshmen, too, are just great athletes. So they'll push for time. And, however it works out, I expect this group to be really, really good. So
I'm excited about James Smith, too. I think that guy's got a high ceiling.
Absolutely does. I think it was maybe the Rose Bowl last year or one of the games. He played really, really well towards the end of the year, and I think he'll build on it. I mean, he's a beast.
Yeah. Well, the simple fact he's a true sophomore, which means that, they didn't redshirt him last year. So, he played enough to where he was a true sophomore coming into this year. So that tells you something.
Right.
That he got in the rotation enough that he used up a year eligibility. It feels like Payne's been here a while too, but maybe that's because we had the other Payne for a few years. Darren Payne for.
Oh, you're talking about Damon? I'm sorry. Yeah.
Damon Jr.
That's exactly who I was thinking of. Darren Payne.
Like every time I see that, I was like, maybe it feels like we've had a Payne on the defensive line for quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
but yes, this is Tim Smith's been here like 9 years, but he's contributed. Every year he's been a solid piece on the line.
Yeah.
So I'm shocked that he's here for his graduate year. I'm glad that he is.
I actually am too. I thought for sure he was going to go to the draft, but
yeah,
I also think we need him to just take a step. He's kind of been very slowly progressing. He's always been good, but if he could be great this year, like I said, this group's the anchor. So we need someone to step up and fill in for the Boyd B. And, if he can help out on the pass rush, that'd be huge.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Thank you, Fonzie, is I'm going to need some pressure and pass rush from the D line where we don't have to rush a linebacker or blitz a linebacker every single time to get some pressure. I mean, I think that's going to be a big change. What we're going to see this year is we're not going to have to rush blitz linebackers to get pressure. Hopefully in this scheme or format, we'll be able to do it with just four people on the line. So
yeah, and then it won't be like every snap will get pressure with 4 people. I mean, I don't expect that to happen every snap. But more consistently. And who knows? This scheme may. I mean, the guys may unlock something in this different scheme. With a different coach in their ass. Or like Womack today, getting into somebody for. I guess he wasn't running in a walkthrough or something. Or he was walking or something. But.
Chewing somebody's ass out, I can tell you that.
I mean, they're gonna be tolerated, man. This is big time.
I loved it. But here's another thing that I love too. And I know we didn't get to see a lot of this, and maybe it went on when Coach Saban was, heading the whole thing. But I'm seeing different videos of even the upperclassmen, even the graduate seniors or grad transfers. They're teaching the young kids, go in slow motion, teaching them this. This is how you're, on the D line. I saw one, especially we're getting into the linebackers. It was, is it Justin Jefferson, who's a possible middle linebacker starter position? He was teaching one of the younger linebackers. I don't remember the number. I'd have to go back and look back at it. But he's like, see, you need to approach it like this. And then you can move. It's all, I feel like it's very personal or interpersonal, that they are now really all playing as like a unit, one unit, one team, instead of individual personalities worrying about, I'm going to go get my bag or I'm going to worry about this, So I'm loving seeing that. Now, this is preseason. During the season, it may change. So we'll see. But I do love that.
Yeah, but you're right, Scott. All these guys could play.
Right.
They obviously won't, but if it came down to it, I think all of these guys are capable of playing legit snaps.
Yep.
Not saying they're going to, dominate a game, but they're capable of playing some snaps.
Oh, I mean, Otis, Keenan, Smith are going to be tough to get out of there regularly, but I mean, Latham, Overton, Payne, they're all going to play significant snaps. James Smith probably will too. Whoever gets the edge position. There's going to be a lot of guys that contribute this year, which is good. Keep them fresh. But
yeah. I'd having 6 to 7 rotational players and 3 or 4 that are your every down guys. Having that 6 to 7 is really, really going to help, especially in the experience part too. So,
yes, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Good group though. Gonna need some Beeman. I'm excited about this kid. I think Overton's gonna be a real key piece in that whole getting that whole 4 down lineman to be really effective. I think Overton's gonna be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Saban saw something in him 2 times, out of high school and then 2 years later.
I'm just glad he stayed with it. I'm just glad he stayed with the transfer. Committed to it.
So, I mean, but these 3-year guys are playing for draft stock now. So all you need is 1 good year. We'll take it whenever he wants to give it to us. Yeah. So, liking these guys. So now we're going to move on to the level behind them, which is funny because it's a 4-2-5 defense, and our linebacker board has like 60 names on it.
A lot of walk-ons on there.
About to say, obviously, there's a bunch of walk-ons on here. I'm sure Lane Wisenhunt is not going to be a Butkus on the Butkus watch list.
He might be.
Might be.
That's all I'm saying.
I'm looking down this list, and I'm like, okay, all the way from 0 to probably, you look to the right side of the screen, you look at number 4, go to Quay Rusa. Is that how you say his name? Last name? Rusall. Yeah. He's from Montgomery, played at Carver, if I'm not mistaken, and I expect I don't know if he'll make an impact this year, but come next year, if he's still with Alabama, he'll make some noise because both of them, as you said, James Smith, y'all talked about him, they're dominant. But look how loaded this linebacker room is. It is. There's tons of talent all over the field. All of them.
There's some speed and there's some dudes in this group. I don't know how it's all going to shake out. Quandarius Robinson is really taking a leadership role. Mm-hmm. Just a couple clips I've seen in practice. He had one of the most all-time blunder in the Tennessee game a couple of years ago. That the refs had to make up for later. But
he'll start. He's pretty much
been around. Yeah.
I think you said he's been around, so I think that's great.
The intrigue is it's the new system for everybody, so it's not like player X has 3 years in the system, new coach, but he kept the defense coordinator and, running the same system. This guy has been in it 3 years, it's all new for everybody. So there's really no advantage other than, body maturity and physical maturity in terms of muscle growth, whatever, preparing yourself. But in terms of knowledge of the scheme and whatnot, I guess you could say the guys that have been here since January would have a leg up on, the new guys coming in. But anybody that we're going to have on the field isn't a freshman. Mm-hmm. Most of the guys going to be hitting these reps in the games are going to be Lawson, Campbell, Coate, Jefferson, Keeley, Robinson, Alexander.
Mm-hmm. I'd say there's your. I don't Pierre know. Bruce Hall. Yeah, I was going to say Yanze Pierre. Is that how you say Yanze?
Is he in the deep? You think the 2-3 deep?
I do.
They're in. They're kind of, at least on the depth chart, I think they're behind Quandarius Robinson. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of in that edge role. Deontay Lawson and Jihad Campbell will probably rarely leave the field. I'm sure Jeremiah Alexander will rotate in there, but and maybe Justin Jefferson a little bit, but I don't think those two guys will leave the field.
And see, you talk about like the college football game. Didn't mean to cut you off, Scott, but like in the college football game that just came out, it has Campbell as off the edge a lot. It has Jefferson and Lawson being your two middle linebackers. Your whatever I guess you would call it, the Husky or whatever you call it. But yeah, no, Robinson and all of this. Anybody number 35 up, Jeremiah, like all of y'all said, Jeremiah Alexander and up, I expect to be in the rotation, and then a couple of the other redshirt freshmen. But they're loaded. This group's more loaded than the D line with talent.
There's a lot of linebackers out there.
And Keeley, he's basically I think we could chalk him up as a D lineman at this point. But regardless, we're talking about both. I think just on pure talent alone, he can get some time. But it's a tough group to evaluate because there's so much proven talent here that I'm really high on Pierre too. I think he could play all three downs, but there's only so many snaps, and there's a lot of dudes here. So,
yes, I'm hoping there's not a whole lot of defensive snaps to go around. That means we're not on the field a lot on defense.
Yeah,
and the defensive snap counts are way down.
Or to the point where we're seeing Lane, Wise, and Hunt on the field. We either have over 100 points or we are down by 100. That
will be the only way you'd see Lane on the field is if we were up by 100 points, literally. His dad was a hell of a play caller in the NFL,
and he was.
I think the older son graduated last year. I think he was a walk-on last year. Or he may have been a Scully. I don't know. Do we know much about this QB Reese guy? Or this Okoronkwo? Justin Okoronkwo?
That Okoronkwo kid's from Germany. Yeah.
Oh, that's
okay.
Right.
Yeah. But other than that, I think
now.
Sterling Dixon, Noah Carter, Jay-Sean Ross, and Aiden Moore, I all recognize. So I think those are legitimate recruits that we pulled in. Noah Carter came over from Washington when the
is he transfer from Washington? Okay.
Yeah, he's a true freshman, but 2024 recruit. But he flipped his commitment once
Debo was coming here.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It's a good group, deep group. Keep saying that about all of them, but
well, you got to have
linebackers and our line play how they should, considering how experienced and deep they are. I think our secondary will benefit immensely.
Huge. This is going to play. These two groups are going to play a huge role in how good our secondary is.
Oh yeah. And
at the same time, if that makes them better, they're also going to improve the defensive line and the pass rush. Because if the quarterback's got to hold the ball for that one more second, that might be the second we need to get a hand in there or trip him up or get to him, get to the QB. So it's just one more second of coverage or one more half second of coverage could be the difference in a big play and a turnover.
Yep.
So I think that'll help the linemen, but if the linemen can get constant pressure, it's going to make these guys look really good, and not these guys, but to make the DBs look really good, and then plus it'll make these guys' job easier too, because they're free to play and they're not have to be taken up with the blitz. We'd lose a linebacker every time running that blitz or having to blitz somebody, and you just gotta hope that hope they get there, or we're going to be left open somewhere.
Yep.
And so. We'll see, man. There's a lot of talent in this list here, in this chalkboard here. There's a lot of talent and there's a lot of speed.
Ton of it. QB Reese was a 3-star. I just looked him up.
Okay.
Don't want to slander his name, but he is a 3-star recruit this year. But he is a true freshman. But you're right. This is a really fast group. Justin Jefferson was a guy I thought was going to play last year. He really didn't. I mean, obviously, Deontay Lawson and Jihad Campbell were just so good that, no one was really playing over him.
Has Jefferson been here all 4 years, or did he transfer in? Did I miss that?
He transferred from JUCO last year.
Okay.
But he was a very, very, very highly recruited and highly rated JUCO recruit.
Gotcha.
Who was the one we had from Georgia last year? The Marshall?
Tresman Marshall.
Trez.
Yeah. He was fine.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying he was bad. If I would say if he probably didn't transfer over, that Jefferson probably would have taken that role.
That's possible. But although Campbell came on later in the year when Lawson got hurt, and it turns out that he was a stud. And then when Lawson came back, I think that ate into Trez's time and Justin's any time Justin would have had. Sorry, Parker, didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I mean, Trez had his positive and negatives. His run stopping ability was great, and side to side was great, or sideline to sideline. But pass coverage, it got a little iffy. I think Justin does a little bit better all around than Trez did. Not to take anything away from what he did. But I think I think our linebacker set this year, as y'all probably already stated, it's stout.
I mean, there's some dudes on here. Oops, man, it's such an entry. I have no idea what the linebacker plans are in this scheme, or even going against some of these high-powered offenses. I'm just
think of it like
we're all unknown. Just
from my limited knowledge of what we're gonna see, I think it's kind of like a 3-3-5. You're gonna have a more traditional edge, maybe a little bigger, like an edge that's more like a D end, size wise, and is a little more versatile. May put their hand in the dirt, but Then you're going to have a true edge rusher. I think the nose tackle and the defensive tackle are going to be, Otis and Keenan or whoever. But you may see some of the guys on this list kind of take on one of these roles. Obviously, Quandarius Robinson will, and Coates or Cott will.
Keanu Cott, yeah.
But there's kind of one of those positions that's more of a hybrid, and then there's one that's more of a traditional edge rusher. So,
well, my favorite thing about the 4-2-5, and this is just what I've been doing on my reading, as I told y'all from the book last week, is that you can change out on the scheme so quickly to drop. If you wanted to drop 9 in the box to stop the run, you could do it very easily. Or if you wanted to drop 8 back and pass, you could do it very easily. Other schemes, I mean, everything's got, their positives and negatives to it. But this, to your point, Scott, you're going to have one true position more so, whether it be an edge or an extra balance to combat the, how offenses are run nowadays. They're just so complex and so many different things that can be run. So it gives us the edge a little bit nowadays.
So much speed.
Exactly. 100%. It'll help us. It'll also help us sideline to sideline too, which I'm very big on.
Big deal. Yeah. I think that's a very big deal. But I think you're right. It's the evolution of the college offense. I mean, it's we aren't ever going to see a 2011 line of defensive statistics like we saw that year. You're not going to see a 9-6 game ever again in this league, I don't think.
Well,
unless Iowa and Vanderbilt play or something. But when the big boys are playing, a few years ago, we led the league in scoring defense at like 17 a game or something, which was one of the highest Saban had ever had. But it's like damn near impossible to put numbers up like that again anymore, because these guys on offense are so fast and so good, and the offensive schemes that are being drawn up now by OCs and by offensive head coaches and whatnot are just they're all about mismatches, and exploiting mismatches, and the guys are so fast, so many of them, the game's so much faster that I think that if you can average holding opponents under 20 points on average, I think that's a solid enough defense that you can compete.
What would y'all say that the average, I would say, passing yardage per game in college football was across the board? Maybe from, I'll be fair, 2008 to 2018, so 10 years. So obviously it continued to progress and get more and more and more per game. However, I feel like now the defenses are judged differently because, to what you said, Jeff, how complex the mismatches and everything. To be honest, if you can hold your opponent to 20 points and keep keep the opposing quarterback under 275 yards passing, I think that's a win.
Yeah, good day.
Because, and you start noticing it now, and these defenses be ranked. They're like, they're giving up 265 yards passing a game, and they'll be ranked in the top 15. That's how complex these things are. I mean, I think eventually it will curtail, that the defensive-minded coaches will catch up to some extent. I don't know what is going to change to fix that, but right now the offensive-minded coaches have really got the edge, and they're going to continue to have the edge. So
I agree.
We'll see.
I agree. That's another reason I'm excited about Jalen this year, and about Ryan Williams and Justice Haynes, because in any of these elite offensive recruits that have either committed, signed, or that are Debo's visiting with and getting in living rooms with, et cetera, and Courtney Morgan's doing all that, et cetera. It's like we've never had an offensive minded. head coach really. At Bama, it's been defense,
for many years. But you're looking back at the last 20 years, though. You look at it.
Yeah.
I mean,
and even when Saban made the transition in 2014 to Blake Sims and hired Lane Kiffin and understood that, hey man, we got to start scoring some points here, and it evolved into the offense we saw in 2020 and what Bryce did in 21 in spite of Bill O'Brien and whatnot. But peak was 2020 was the peak offense as it was ascending through Tua, hit the apex with Mac in the 2020 season. Continued a little bit with Bryce, and then it gradually started dipping down. And then whatever that show was last year, which I thought Milroe put up fantastic numbers in an offense that the guy had no clue who he was, what we were, what the strategy was. Like, I still don't understand what our offensive goal was last year, but it's all different now.
I'll still take Tommy Rees over Bill O'Brien because Bill O'Brien had all those years of experience and still screwed it up. So that's the only thing I'll say on that. They were both. O'Brien
looked at Jahmyr Gibbs and said, we're only going to let you touch the ball 11 times a game. What?
And if many things from the 22 season that just.
Yes. We excited? We excited too?
It's going to be a good time. It's going to be great.
We're excited too, man.
They're going to be up and downs.
An offensive head coach is the game is transitioned. If you look even in the NFL, these teams that are succeeding have offensive head coaches. You don't see the defensive guru head coach winning Super Bowls, playing for Super Bowls much anymore. I mean, Belichick did it all those years with Brady.
I was about to say the defensive guru is gone.
Look at the last several. It's Joe Burrow, offensive head coach. Patrick Mahomes, the offensive head coach. San Francisco 49ers, offensive head coach. Now the Lions have Campbell. He was like a special teams guy. So I don't know how much of a guru offensive minded he is.
He's a team guy, I feel like. He's just an all-around guy.
I feel like a lot of the transition is into offensive coaches. And when you got a guy like go ahead, Scott.
I was just going to say, I feel like offenses have had their generational transition and defenses haven't gotten there yet. But in the next 10 years, defenses should figure it out. I mean, obviously Milton with Tennessee, for example, last year kind of struggled. But Heupel's offense isn't overly complex. He's just doing something goofy. I mean, he's putting people on the sideline, basically. They run the offense super fast, but, from what I understand, they only run so many little packages and they only have so many plays with just different route trees and stuff. They're not reinventing the wheel. They're just – it's very hard to defend. I'm not minimizing what any of you guys said, but I just think, that works now, but in 10 years, we'll see a shift again.
Yeah.
I mean, we should at least if defensive coordinators are doing their job.
But a lot of it is the skill players are all wanting to play offense.
Yeah.
The guys running 4-2s don't want to go play defensive back, which is why it shocks me that Mbakwe is going to stay at DB, which he may not over the course of his career. But if you run that fast, the guys want to be on offense. And so I think that has a lot to do with it as well as, a lot of these skill guys are choosing to play offense. Well, most of them play both ways in high school anyway. Mbakwe was a beast in offense in high school. I mean, he and Hollywood just trading haymakers in that playoff game.
So, Jeff, you would know a little bit better. You got to see them trading haymakers against each other. Mbakwe, could you see him, maybe taking in a Kendrick Law role, kind of like a play early on at least? Because obviously Law is going to be a dynamic part of our offense. If he's not, then something is extremely wrong. What do you think?
I don't, unless an emergency happens, I think Mbakwe could. He's not Law's size, obviously.
Yeah.
Law's just a freak. But I think he could play a role on offense, but I don't think that we'll need him unless there's catastrophic injuries, or something. But I just don't think we're going to need him there. I think that's a big reason why he's staying on offense or on defense, because he's so dynamic that we need a dynamic player back there that's fast and that has some ball skills. And I think he's that dude. That's just my opinion. Obviously, he's never played it down in the SEC. So all of this is just me basing this off seeing a couple of highlights of a playoff game against Ryan Williams. I didn't watch his high school reels because all high school reels are just good, all awesome plays.
Did they cover each other? Oh, I'm sorry. Did Mbakwe cover Ryan?
I'm sure at some point that if he's playing cornerback at Alabama, he played cornerback in high school, and those two have been playing against each other for some
they're both
years.
5 stars. I mean, goodness gracious. Or at least
I would have to believe that at some point Mbakwe guarded Hollywood, and if he's going to be doing it a lot because they're both freshmen, so they're going to be in practice all the time because they're going to be on the same line. Although I think Hollywood's going to move up the depth chart pretty quick, but they're going to be on the same. They're going to be in the same depth area, and they're going to be squaring off a lot, and that can only make Mbakwe better, and it can only make Ryan better. The fact that they have to go against these guys in practice, I think it's going to do a lot for the DBs.
Sure.
Did y'all see a picture of the Viking today?
a lot. Yes.
Yes.
I was about to say. I always mess up his name. It's Alanis. Alanis, is that right?
I just call him Torvald.
Ole Salinen or something.
Ole Salinen.
He's Finnish. You know, we'll learn. I'll wait for Kirk Herbstreit to tell us, but he's a beast. Wilcom Formsby too, I've heard, has had a great.
Formby's about to be legit.
Yeah. I think that's our starting right there.
Some Olaus, man. I call him Tarvold.
Valhalla.
I'm trying to get the camera back. Sorry.
Tarvold was Johnny Drama's character on Viking Quest and Entourage. It's good timing because I'm rewatching Entourage right now, and
people keep telling me to watch that. And that
you've never seen it?
I've seen bits and pieces when my brothers were growing
up. You gotta get on that, dude. It's the 20th anniversary of season 1. It was 04, so it's the 20th anniversary. So I've been seeing a lot of stuff on social media about it, and then it's pushing on Max. They bump it to the top of the queue, whatever. So you'll see it when you log in there. But I've watched it probably 6 or 7 times, start to finish. So this is number 8. Number 7 or 8.
Just as good as it was.
Oh, I love it, dude. I loved it, that show. It's so good.
Speaking of shows, Dad just started watching and just finished the first season of Friday Night Lights. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, never watched. Well, obviously, we're so vested in high school sports at the time, we never get to see it, or he never got to see it. And he watched the first season. He was like, bunch of filler episodes in there, but for the most part, really good show so far. I like it. I was like, yeah, the first season's really freaking good. There are filler episodes, and I said the second season you'll have your moment.
Have to, with 24 episodes in a season, you got to have some fillers. But
he said it was too many episodes. I was like, well, 2005.
Don't look at it like that. Just look at it as you were just watching a football show. You don't have to know when the season ends or whatever.
Impatient is what he is. Some days, impatient.
Yeah, true. But it's a good show.
Very much so. I'd go back and watch it again starting today.
It's amazing.
But did y'all see? I know I briefly mentioned something today. We can talk on a couple other SEC schools, but Georgia has been having some issues with some. I'd call it reckless driving, speeding, or whatnot. But the new one that actually came out was Ra Thomas. Him getting in trouble. I guess it was over the weekend, or maybe Friday after we did the podcast last Thursday. He got in trouble for some domestic abuse. It came out today that he has been kicked off the team. So.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
He is off the team. So obviously there's some big time issues with that, and there should be, because that's just unacceptable.
I didn't realize it was. Oh man, I didn't realize it was domestic.
It wasn't good, and I don't know all the facts. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
terrible stuff.
Yeah,
I think it's. I don't want to say unfair to exclude it from everything else that's been going on there, but I think it's a completely different matter. Just on a,
I agree. And this isn't his first time either. He's had issues before when he transferred over.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because he transferred over from Mississippi State, if I'm not mistaken, right?
He had issues at Mississippi State too. He had an arrest there. He had another assault or a battery charge or something at Georgia.
Issues, man.
I think there's a lot of things going on at that program behind the scenes, but I think this one's just a little different. I think it's just a really, really bad person that should not be anywhere near any college football team.
Needs to be.
Now the reckless driving, if they haven't learned their lesson at this point, I don't even know what to say, because it's just it's been a never-ending issue at that program.
Ever since
obviously
the issue,
we know what happened with
I don't know when they're going to straighten it
after the national championship a couple years ago.
Yeah,
but
that's crazy.
Kirby's just really selling out to win, it looks like, and he needs to start instilling some discipline.
But this has been an ongoing issue with Georgia, even when Mark Richt was there. They've been having issues there for years, and I'm not going to say that I know all the issues. I know Alabama's had plenty of issues too, but this is like a trend, it feels like, and I don't know if it's the Georgia culture, what's going on in Athens. I don't know. I need the Georgia fans to at least explain to me why this has gone on for so long, or at least appears to have gone on for so long. And it's not a dig at Georgia, because I just don't know. I really don't.
It's Athens, man. Athens is a wild place. Athens is a wild place. So we got a couple guests hopped in the studio, man. We're gonna bring on Chris and Cotton from Way Offsides, man. They're gonna lead us, let us know what they're gonna be talking about coming up at 8:00. What's up, boys?
Hello.
What is going on?
Como estas?
Horns down, always.
Indeed, gentlemen. Good evening. Good evening.
Guys, look at this.
Thanks for coming in, guys.
Setup,
we just wanted to bring you in and say what's up, and then so you can let everybody know what y'all are talking about or what we're talking about on Way Offsides tonight.
Yeah, Chris. Christopher.
Chris.
That's on me. Well,
yeah.
Of course, we're going to talk recruiting and rumors in recruiting and what's happening and what's not happening.
They love it. I know Jeff doesn't, but they love it.
There are no rumors in recruiting. Get out of here.
Never. We're going to talk Bama's offense.
It's all facts.
It's all facts. Every bit of it. We don't make anything up.
No,
nope,
we never.
Not a thing. Despite what them obvious think.
It's all the truth.
Yeah.
I see. Hey, I have been seeing y'all been getting some feedback from some interesting fans. I will say that y'all been getting some interesting feedback.
Yeah, we rub some people the wrong way. That's okay.
Hey, you know what? Such is life. You know what? There's
you know you're doing something right. If you're triggering them, it's working.
Yeah, if Auburn fans are upset at you, yeah, something's happening good. But yeah, Chris, we're going to talk about Alabama's offense, how it could potentially be the best we've ever seen in Tuscaloosa. I know that's crazy to hear, but just stick with it. You're going to want to see it.
I'm with you. I know I'm not on camera right now, but I'm with you.
You're going to talk secondary.
Thinking about that this morning.
Yeah.
They're going to be good. They're going to be real good.
Salivating.
Secondaries, Chris.
Yep. We're going to talk secondaries, and we're going to break down Missouri and Texas schedule.
Yes.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Interesting. Where can they find you guys? Or where can they find Way Offsides?
That's easy.
Why don't you tell them, Michael?
Yeah, I got this, man. Let me. You just go over to YouTube and you type in Way Offsides with 4 A's. Not 3, not 5, 4. I didn't do my green screen right. That's okay. We'll just pretend like I did. I'm pulling a bill over here.
For real?
Yeah, you find it. Or yeah, 3 A's. You can find us on YouTube, X, Way Offsides. We're actually going to be live streaming on Instagram tonight. We'll see how that goes. I may have rebranded an old Disney account to Way Offsides, so
that's all right. Instantly have 8K
characters tonight. It should be fun. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Hop on over to the Way Offsides channel. Make sure you like, subscribe. As soon as you're done liking and subscribing, what Couchcasters are doing here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. We are happy to be powered by the Way Offside Sports Network. It's actually a network started with content creators in mind that can all kind of band together and have a common goal of helping each other out and having some fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
It doesn't have to be just Alabama football. It can be whatever sport floats your boat.
Yeah,
sports.
Got a couple of really cool, interesting guys that are interested in joining the WOSN. Got a website in the works. Got a lot coming down the pipeline. So we're happy to have you guys on board with us. Make this thing a reality. Should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I can't point, but if you see way up in the top corner above Cotton's head, the Way Offside Sports Network, you can find it there. Search it up there. I can never do the points right because of the mirrored, non-mirrored camera, whatever. Yeah, but anyway, so catch us over there at 8:00. Go to YouTube, Way Offsides 4 A's. Catch us there at 8:00. It's a fun show. So anyway, appreciate you guys coming on here and letting everybody know, and we'll see y'all shortly.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having us.
Thanks, fellas. Yeah.
Rolleth.
Cool side.
Love those guys. Love those guys.
There's a new sports network going on here. So
it's a little bit more of a branching out for a little bit more than just Alabama stuff. Hence the term sports network.
I like it.
Because they wanted to, do something that incorporated content creators, not just of Bama stuff, just, of anything. If anybody's out there with a platform, a podcast, a YouTube channel following that covers any sport, whether it's football, hockey, badminton, cricket, basketball,
I gotta get on my hockey. I gotta start my hockey grind.
I mean, it's there. I mean, there's a platform for it. I mean, we've got a platform for it. To go there, so it's pretty exciting what they're wanting to do in terms of a broader scope of sports creators. So I'm excited about it. Plus, I'm excited to be involved. That we're involved with them as well. Those are good guys, and it's a good show and good foundation. They're good dudes.
Agree. Yeah, that's awesome. Makes me feel.
Yeah, we're excited about it.
Sports news. So
yes.
Sports news.
Yes. And it was like I told Parker, oh, sorry, Scott, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I love just ripping off stuff about the MLB or the NHL or whatever, really stirred up some shit that day in the sports world. So
perfect for a Grinds My Gears segment. Oh my God.
Yeah. And not, and now granted, our next few shows are going to be Bama focused because we're breaking rosters down, but if there is other news that pops in around the sports world, we'll be on it and we'll talk about it too. But I mean, Parker, you were out, but we spent a whole episode talking the Stanley Cup. I mean, we spent an hour and 10 minutes talking hockey straight. That's it.
Indeed.
Great.
Hate that I missed it, but honestly, I don't know if I would have been able to give any kind of factual help or any kind of interest into it because hockey's not my game. And you know
I'll
what?
let Scott and Hunter take that.
That's the way it rolls. That's what makes our network so well.
Yeah.
Because we got people from all walks of life who enjoy so many different sports out there. If you like golf out there, I guarantee you there's somebody who likes it. Me, I like to watch it. It really helps put me to sleep. So, with that, you know what? It all works out. It's all good.
Yeah. Well, we're happy to be a part of that. And, hopefully we've gotten 6 new subs in the last week. So we were stagnant at 121 for a while, and now we're at 127. So the 6 that subbed in the last 10 days, thank you so much.
Indeed.
Not sure why you did, but we're glad that you did. We're happy to be here. New logo, new sports network, new collaborations. So, a lot of new stuff on the horizon for us this year. New head coach. A lot of intrigue in a lot of areas this year for us. So we're excited about it. Looking forward to the content. Going to be doing a lot of content during the football season. I think we're going to collab some on some instant reaction stuff. Parker and I had a good time doing a couple of those last year. Yeah, it's going to be a good year. We're looking forward to it.
Indeed.
But before we sign everybody out, does anybody got anything to add? You guys got anything you want to add?
I'm good. I'm rocking and rolling.
I got one. Anybody who's watching, anybody who comes across this, definitely tune in for next week because we got a real treat for you. Real good treat.
Yes.
And other than that, just remember to like and subscribe. Just give us a little like, a little comment every now and then.
Hit the subscribe, hit the little notification bell. Join us next Thursday at 7 Central Time, followed by Way Offsides at 8 Central Time. 2-hour block on Thursday nights. We're going to try and see if we can't tag team these 2 hours and have a good time doing it, covering the school and sports that we love. So anyway, good show, fellas. Good to see you guys. Sort of, Scott. We just need to get you a still photo to go over the icon logo.
We need to figure something out. I'm not buying an external webcam. So we're either looking at this or we're looking at my frozen face. But made it about 30 minutes tonight, so
that was good. Good.
It's been lasted about 10, so progress.
We'll take care of you. We'll find one laying around work somewhere, Parker. We'll get him hooked up.
Yeah.
You're right about that.
All right, boys. Well, good show. Enjoyed it. And we will catch y'all next week. Roll Tide.
Roll it.
Roll it.
New World Order. But thank